great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of disease.
Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode number 488 of the Immigration Answer Show. I'll be here for the next hour until I leave to go watch my New York Jets play another crappy NFL team known as the Atlanta Falcons. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a game of which team is worse, not which team deserves to win the game. But sometimes that's what happens in life. Sometimes it's just a matter of who's not as bad. You know, Woody Allen said sometimes that 90% of success is just showing up. So if the Jets show up, maybe they'll get a win out of the game. But, man, are they bad. They are a bad, bad football team. Look at everybody already chiming in. We got a lot of our favorites here. Yu Yin is here. Vadim is here. H&M, as usual. Glenn is saying hi from Texas. Dammy's here. And APF is always happy to be here. Oh, yes, Glenn, the Jets are terrible. Terrible, terrible. I hope everyone has had a good weekend. Thanks for that, MD. Yeah. Let's see. We had sort of an empty house. Just Noor's here. Brothers start to come home next week for the Christmas break. What did we do? Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of my dad passing away. So I dropped Noor off. She drove to Kansas City for some softball training, and then hung out at home with Amani for a while. And then I went out to lunch with my mom and my sisters. And we went to this place called the Missouri Botanical Garden, which is a really nice place. We had a nice lunch. Then we walked around, came back home, got Amani, and then we went to the cemetery to see my dad. And I played his favorite song, Danny Boy, which he used to sing to us. And then we went to dinner at Favaza's, and we had a great time. And now I'm here with you guys. How are you all doing? What fun things did you do? Let me know in the comments. I'm glad to see everybody saying hello. Rocio's here. David says, go Broncos. Hope is here from Florida, as Hope usually is. We got Yonkers in the house. El Haji, hello. My dad, Rocio, my dad didn't graduate from high school. So when my dad was 14 or 15, his father, who he hated, passed away from cancer. And so my dad got his mom to sign up that he could join the Marines when he was 17. And so my dad joined the Marines. And he was there for about 3 years. He was an MP, and he was in Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. He blew out his knee, and he came to America, back to the States, and started working as he would fingerprint people at the police station. His uncle was high up at the police station. And he worked there for a couple of years, and then he started working on a survey crew. And he was like surveying land. And, this was before GPS and all that stuff. So, yeah, keep me posted, David, on the Tottenham game. What's the score? My son Ibrahim and my buddy Brent are watching it in Minnesota. But anyway, Rocio, my dad built his company. He eventually left. He became the head of marketing for that architectural engineering firm. He left in 1990, opened up his own engineering firm, and grew it ultimately to about 150 people before he retired. And he had offices sort of around the United States. He did have a lot of good stories, and he was a lot of fun. We all missed him, and my mom and sisters and I sort of lived through those last 3 days of his life yesterday, which we did last year too. So anyway, my fantasy team is great, Tony. We are Sun scored both. Thank you, David. That's not good when one player on your team scores both goals and the score is tied 1-1. Fantasy team, we've only lost one game. And thank you, HA. We only lost one game, and that was because I told my partner, my son Ibrahim, to start Zach Wilson instead of that goofy guy from Indianapolis, Mayhew. So Gunther, something Mayhew. Anyway, let's get this party started. Let's say Mr. K's been waiting the longest. Hello, Mr. K.
Hi, Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, Jim, I got a couple of questions for you today. I'm trying to fill this form up. There's I-131 application.
Okay.
But Jim, this question on part 2. So mine is I came throughout the border. I sent you. I spoke to you some time ago about it. I came through the border, seek asylum, and now my asylum has been terminated. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. I got a kid here, but I'm filing for the advanced parole. So on the page,
But you're
on
not going to
part
leave.
two,
You're not going to leave until you get your green card.
yes, I'm not going to leave till I get that.
Then why do you
That's
need
correct.
Why do you need advance parole?
I was trying to go on a cruise with my wife.
That's leaving the
And
United States. A cruise is leaving the United States. You're not leaving till you get your green card.
okay,
You came across the border. You're barely here. You're lucky they didn't, you know, 5 years ago they would have deported you like that. So we're not messing around with any of that. We're not going
okay,
anywhere. We're not leaving the United States until we have our green card in hand.
okay, all right. Okay, then that question is over. But I'm also I contacted you about suing the USCIS on
Mm-hmm.
my delay I-130 and I-485.
Yeah.
So Jim, this is the Louisville office in Kentucky. Have you
Yeah.
guys ever sued them before, and how fast is that procedure over there?
They're like usual, like everybody else. We have local counsel. My buddy Tate, we have sued Louisville. I've been to interviews in Louisville after suing them. They're fine. So I wouldn't be worried about them.
Okay, okay, good. And also, I contacted the USCIS Thursday concerning my delayed I-130 and I-485. So
Yeah.
what they told me was that I did change when I moved to Kentucky. I did change my address
You
to
did or didn't?
I did. I made my attorney did that, and then when
Yeah.
I called them, they said my I-130 still have my old address. Would that also be causing the delay of my interview, or that is
What
not?
field office? What field office would your interview have been
It
if
was
you hadn't moved?
it's supposed to be in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah. So it's not like the only way I would think that the failure to update your address on the I-130 would slow down your case would be if you were coming from a busier field office to a slower field office. Like if you were coming from LA and they still thought you were in LA, then I could see you being in a long LA line. But Louisville and Cleveland are both pretty rinky-dink and small, so I don't think that's it. I think they're sitting on your case most likely because you had one, because you came across the border, and two, because you had an asylum case.
Oh, the asylum case has been terminated.
Yeah, but
Like months.
it still makes your file that much thicker than everybody else, and there's a whole bunch of paper that they need to look through before they can sit across from you in an interview.
Okay, so suing them will be the best way for
I
them
think
to get
so.
me. Okay, all right,
Thanks, Mr.
all right.
K.
Thank you,
Hey,
Jim.
do me a favor. Send me an email and remind me, will you?
Okay, I will do that.
All right. Thanks,
I will
Mr.
do
K.
it now. Okay,
See you, buddy.
thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. All right, all right. Mariah's here. Hello, Mariah.
Oh, hi, Jim. Sorry.
How you
I want to
doing?
be.
I got you
I'm
off camera.
actually doing good. I just wanted to get you up to date. So we were in that 221G since August, and they asked for more information in October, and he sent it. And November 30th, we finally got approved.
Nice. What embassy is this?
Yay. DACA.
Okay, and that's great. So
Yeah.
can you walk us through the whole timeline for everybody? So when did you file the I-130?
No. It was for the K1.
Okay, when? Okay, so when did you
Yeah.
file the I-129F?
December 17th of 21.
Wow. Okay, and when did
Yeah.
USCIS approve it?
February 24th of this year.
Wow.
I know.
So still Bangladesh, that's pretty fast. So you got to the State Department in February, and you had your interview when? In October?
No, it was August 17th.
And then you got the request for more evidence. What did they ask you for?
The 221. It was the 221G.
Yeah.
At the interview, and they wanted our beginning chats because the lawyer that we had said, no, you're not going to need them. And even though I had mentioned it many times, so they wanted our beginning chats, and they wanted the remittance back and forth, even though he had that on him. The consular officer never asked to see any of it, but they requested it for the 221G. So, he responded. The embassy received the information. and they even asked him to send his passport back with it. So they
That's good.
received it. Yeah, they received it August 27th. And then we waited and waited and waited. And then finally, in October, they emailed him asking for more proof that we were still having communication throughout all this. So he sent all that. And then we even went above and beyond and sent more stuff. We dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and he sent a cover letter, made it all professional looking. And so we've been waiting, but yeah, we finally got the approval November 30th. So we're just waiting for it to be issued. I don't know how long that's going to take, but.
So he doesn't have the visa yet?
No, not yet. It just said approved on November 30th.
So it should be probably this week or next week. That's great.
Yeah.
So he'll come right away, and then you'll get married?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, great. Well, I'm very, very happy for you, Mariah.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank you.
Send us a picture when he gets here, and then I wrote down beginning chats. I like the way I love to hear the way regular people phrase immigration stuff.
I know.
I'm gonna do a video on beginning chats because I think beginning chats is really important. So thank you for phrasing it that way.
It is, and that's what they said, the beginning chats. And I would have sent them. Like we would have sent them. Or he would have had them with him, whatever. But anyways, yeah. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I just had to keep you up to date.
We're very happy. Let us know when he gets here.
Thank you. I will.
Bye, Mariah.
All
See
right. Bye-bye. See you later.
Temitape's here. What's up, Temitape?
Good morning, sir.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine, sir. One quick question, sir. Please, what do you see about this VAWA?
What about it?
Yeah, I think I have a friend that he was trying to marry, not a fraud something, but the wife kind of be hurting somehow. Now they marry like 8 months. So, and the husband was thinking that I'm fed up. I don't think that I can go on. So I said, let me help you to ask.
Does he have documented proof of abuse, of physical abuse?
From the police?
Well, the police, or can he prove it, or what? What evidence do we have that the wife engaged in any abuse?
Yeah, I think the wife is trying to get another man. So telling him that.
Is she hitting him or pushing him down the stairs, or you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah. So VAWA is the Violence Against Women Act. Now it applies to every gender. So it's Violence Against Persons Act, right? So there's got to be some violence. I mean, we've kicked around the idea of trying to do some psychological stuff or like threats related to, but here's the thing: is this brother from Nigeria?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've talked before on the show about the Nigerian man coming to America, getting the green card playbook. And here's how it goes. You have a visa. You go to get a visa in Nigeria because you're married. They give it to you. They wouldn't have given it to you if you weren't married. And then either your marriage was fake, or you get divorced before you come to America, or you come to America, get divorced, and then you marry a U.S. citizen. And then the Nigerian playbook goes one of two ways. Either everything works out okay with the wife, they have to prove up the old Nigerian divorce, or they have proof of an American divorce. That's one route. And the other route, which is the backup Nigerian plan, which is if the wife starts being mean to you, then claim abuse and file under VAWA. So I see this, Temitape, every week on the show. People come and tell me about it. So that means if I see it, or if we see it on this show, then USCIS is seeing it all the time.
Correct.
So I always think it's harder for a man than a woman to prove a VAWA case, unless maybe it's a same-sex case. I always think that's harder for a USCIS officer to approve. And then I think it's also harder for a man from Nigeria, because I think the USCIS thinks there's this playbook out there. And then third, if there's no actual violence, I think it's not going to work.
Okay. That's my question. Thank you so much.
What are you going to do today? You off work?
No, yeah, I'm not working today.
Good. All right. See you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
All right. That's our man. He's always got good questions. Georgie's here. What do you say, Georgie?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, I have a quick question. So, I have submitted my DS 260 and I have a job offer from my Alaskan employer that I'm working on H-2B visa. But what I've heard, it's not recommended for me to travel to United States on this part of the immigration process.
So is your DS-260 based on marriage to a U.S. citizen?
No, it's employment based, EB3 category unskilled.
And how long until your visa number, your priority date becomes current?
So my priority days is June 2022 and maybe a couple more years. I don't know.
So the question is, can you come on an H-2B for 6 months at a time and work in Alaska while that green card case is pending?
Yes, because it's a short-term employment. It's just for from January until April.
Is the EB3 application that you have, the I-140 that's been approved, is that based on the same job or a totally different job?
Totally different job in a different state with different employer.
Hmm.
And I have been working with this employer for maybe 3 years. And before that, I also have a long history of travel to United States, and I have never overstayed my visa.
The long history, you mean with the H-2B employer?
J1 and H2B, of course, with the same employer. It's uh, it's a fish processing company in Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah, my best friend growing up, Flammy, worked for a fish processing company in Alaska, so I understand. Okay, and then what's the job for the EB3?
It's a general laborer in. It's a one bus company in Montana.
I think I'm
For
okay with
Bozeman.
you coming on your H-2B as long as you're always honest whenever anybody asks you about what else you have pending.
Yes.
So if CBP asks you or gives you any trouble, which I don't think they will, you've always followed the rules. You have an H-2B, you have a pending I-140 that's years away. You'll leave at the end of the 6 months. I think as long as you're honest, I think you're okay.
Well, my I-140 is already approved, and now I'm just waiting to get documentarily complete from the National Visa Center.
And for the visa to become current.
Uh, yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be soon. So
Right. So that's why I'm okay with this. I'm okay as long as you follow the rules and keep leaving and going on time. I think you're going to be okay.
okay, thank you. That's from me.
Bye,
Thank you.
Georgie. See you, buddy. All right. Check this out. Nurse Laura is checking in from Honolulu. Ooh, let's see. It must be, I don't know, must be early in the morning over there, Nurse Laura. I hope you're having fun on your honeymoon. Honolulu's great. Hawaii's great. I just got an email from Turtle Bay, which is where Amani and I stayed on Oahu. I think it was Oahu. Or no, on Hawaii. I hope you're having a great time. 7 a.m. Awesome. Great. Thanks for checking in. Thank you for checking in. All right. Let's see. Who's here? Special K is here. What do you say, Special K? Special K, can you hear me? You might be on mute. Yeah, you're on mute, Special K. Can't hear you. All right. Special K is out. Let's say hi to the legend. What's up, legend?
How you doing, Mr. Jim?
I'm great, buddy. How you doing?
Who do you think is gonna who do you think is gonna win this year? You think Mahomes has a chance?
Who do I think is going to win? Which now? The Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, you can't ever bet against the Chiefs, man. They're just awesome.
Yeah, there's Travis Kelce and Mahomes and all this. They're a good pair. Like they're a good team for sure. All right. I have a question. I had my concurrent filing, and is there a possibility, like somehow USCIS approving 485 before 130, or they have to approve 130 for sure before 45?
It's impossible to approve the 45 without the underlying petition being approved first. Why do you ask? That's a strange
Uh,
question.
because I was looking at the app and putting my receipt number, because on the 130 it's saying case has been received and a receipt notice was sent, but on my 485 it's saying they're actively reviewing by USCIS. So they're reviewing my 485, but on 130 it's saying case was received and the receipt notice was sent.
Yeah, but we don't listen to any of that stuff on the online portal. You're just proving my point that half the shit they say in there is wrong or incorrect, or you can't really put much stock in it.
Yeah, because one of my friend, he's here and his parents are in Nepal, and he filed for their 130, and then on their 130 saying case has been actively reviewing by USCIS, but that's from my friend to parents in Nepal, and my case is like all here in America, but that actively reviewing by USCIS is showing in my 485, not 130. So
I think that's BS. I think they just click boxes and then it shows you this updated thing, but the 45 will never go faster than the I-130.
Okay, so I will keep an eye on, like, for sure, I-130 first and then 45 and go from there.
Yep, I'm writing down. You're giving me another good topic, so thank you for that, Legend. Will the 45 ever beat the I-130? Nope. Okay, awesome. What else you got?
That'll be my question. I have my fingers crossed, and yeah, hope for the best.
All right, buddy. Good luck. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right, everybody. Nurse Laura reports she's having fun in Honolulu, going for a hike this morning. Her food still tastes weird due to COVID. Yeah, what do they call that? Long-term COVID? That sucks, man. That sucks. I only lost the sense of taste for Thanksgiving of 2020, and that was very strange. I hope she has a great hike too. Thank you, Dammy. Yeah, H&M's right. You're just hurting your head, Legend. That thing's going to drive you crazy. I don't believe anything that online portal says anymore until I see the approval or until I have a benefit. H&M's right, as usual. I think I have a video on that very topic. Like that lady that called a little while ago that was really happy. Mariah, was that her name? Whose spouse or fiance got the fiance visa approved. Until you got that visa in hand, it's a whole lot different than whatever else they say. They say your green card's approved, but you don't have it in hand. Totally different thing. All right. I see Austin's here. Austin, are you driving? If you're not driving, if you're parked, give me a thumbs up. I'll pull you up. All right, he's parked. All right, let's see. Hello, Austin. How you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm great, buddy. I like that hat.
Thank you. Thank you. Mhm.
What's up?
I'm good. Can you take me off camera?
You are off camera, my brother.
Okay. All right. Thanks for what you do.
Sure.
Let me give you a brief background. Yeah. I got married in late 2019, and my receipt date was in February 2020. I got an interview in March 2022, a year, like 2 years later, and it's been a month. It's been a year and 9 months now. I've not heard from USCIS, and I have a proceeding case that's coming up in May. So I don't know what to do now.
Awesome. Okay, I know what to do. Let's back up. So, where are you from?
Unfortunately, I'm from Nigeria.
It's not unfortunately. It's all good, man. Nobody has to apologize or worry about where they're from. So, you came from Nigeria on a B1, B2 visit visa?
Yes.
And when you went to the embassy, were you married or single?
Yeah, I was married.
Did you get divorced before you came to the United States or after you came to the United States?
After I came,
When did you enter?
I entered in 2017
Uh-huh. And did your divorce happen in Nigeria or in America?
in Nigeria.
Okay, and so you have a divorce that happened, then you weren't there, you weren't in court, you were in America when the divorce went down.
Correct.
So we probably have to guess that your Nigerian divorce decree is fake. If we had to guess, based on what I've seen so far, there are a lot of divorce decrees from Nigeria where these lawyers are acting like they went to court and got people to divorce, but they didn't really. So do you know about that?
I do, but I sent an independent lawyer there, and he confirmed it. And I even got an RFE for that, which I responded. And even on my day of interview, I brought the decree,
Good
and
job.
the
Good job.
the
Exactly
officer
right.
said he already had it and he doesn't need it. So I'm quite sure the
That's great.
divorce
So
was.
we're past that hurdle. Okay, now my next question is, how did you end up in removal?
Asylum.
Mhm. So you applied for asylum and you had an interview with the asylum officer and they rejected the case and sent you to the immigration court, right?
Correct.
When did that happen, Austin?
It happened before 6 months of my arrival. That's when I applied for the asylum.
That's good. But then when did you end up in immigration court, I guess is my question.
In 2019.
Okay. And when did you marry a U.S. citizen?
In 2019.
Before or after you were in removal proceedings?
About that time.
Well, that my brother is the $1 million question. Did you get married and file the I-130 before you were in removal or after you got the asylum decision? This is a very important question.
It was after.
Okay. So the reason it's important is because if you get married before you go to removal, then you just have to prove your marriage is legit like everybody else's. If you get married after removal proceeding, after the notice to appear has been issued, then you have to prove it by clear and convincing evidence, and you actually have to ask for something called the bona fide marriage exception. So did your lawyer ask for the bona fide marriage exception?
Yeah, he did all that.
Okay,
And
good. And you filed the I-130 separately from the 45, right? The 45, has it
Right.
even been filed yet, or the 45 is not on
No.
file? Perfect. Okay. So now I'm ready for you to give me that timeline again of what happened after you filed the I-130, if you could.
Okay, I filed the I-130. My receipt
20.
notice was February 2020.
Yeah.
It took 2 years to get an interview. I got an RFE, which I responded before the interview. And
Where was the interview?
it was in New Jersey,
And,
Mountain, New Jersey.
okay. And did they separate you and your spouse at the interview?
Yes.
Did you bring a lawyer to the interview?
No.
And when you and your spouse compared notes as far as whether your answers matched, what kind of a grade would you give yourself?
A.
Hey, okay, good. And so most of your answers matched and everything, and everything's cool with you and your wife?
Yes.
And I noticed that you're in a truck. So are you an over-the-road truck driver?
I'm a new driver, so my trucking is a recent development anyway.
Okay. So up until that point, you guys are living together and everything.
Yes, we're still living together.
Yeah, good. Okay. And so the interview was how long ago, Austin?
The interview happened in March 2022.
Wow. So I think they're just waiting for the marriage to fall apart to see if you guys get divorced. So I think that if you have a court date coming up in May, if I were you, what I would do is I would hire me to sue them to get your I-130 moving. I don't know if they're going to approve it. It sounds like you've got everything teed up correctly, but you need that I-130 approval notice when you go to court in May so you can tell the judge, hey, judge, let's terminate these proceedings so I can file for a 45 with USCIS and get my green card. I think that they're sitting on the case to either see if you get divorced or if they can wait to see what your U.S. citizen spouse does, or they're just sort of overwhelmed by the asylum part, the Nigerian divorce decree, and they just would rather sit on it and see what happens as opposed to giving you an I-130 approval notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do if I were you. I would sue them.
Okay. So how do I reach out to you?
So I'll put it up on the comments. So if you go to if you email me info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, I'll put it up here on the screen. You can call the office or you can email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. I wouldn't do WhatsApp right now. WhatsApp's not working so great for us. So info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. Just say, hey, I'm Austin. I was just on the show with Jim, and I'll see that email today or tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, buddy.
Bye, sir.
See you, man. All right. So story time from Uncle Jim. That was a great call from Austin. Thank you for that. Story time out of the Friday St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Men charged with human trafficking. Men charged with human trafficking. This is a hell of a story. So it seems that these three fellows from India have been charged with trapping a 20-year-old Indian student. They moved him from house to house and they made him do all this work. They also engaged in severe beatings. So they would beat the man. He was locked in the basement. They allegedly, these are all allegations, they forced him to sleep on an unfinished floor without access to a bathroom. He scavenged for scraps in nearby restaurant dumpsters and was beaten with electrical wire, PVC pipe, metal rods, wooden boards, sticks, and a water supply hose for a washing machine. On Wednesday, police descended upon a home on a rural highway in St. Charles County. So St. Charles County is sort of like an exurb from St. Louis. And they arrested these three guys, charging them with human trafficking, kidnapping, and assault. The prosecutor said it's absolutely inhumane and unconscionable that one human being could treat another human being like this. The students spent time locked inside houses in various parts of St. Charles County. One of the people who is charged is the ringleader, or the alleged ringleader, lives in one of the houses with his wife and children. The other two live in the other house, and that's where the student was rescued. Authorities said the student had come to the U.S. from India last year with hopes of studying at Missouri University of Science and Technology. That's the University of Rolla. That's in Rolla, Missouri, sort of like 100 miles from here. He was forced to begin chores around 4:30 a.m., then work for the ringleader's IT company all day, and then complete a list of evening tasks. The student told police he regularly got 3 hours of sleep on a concrete floor in a locked basement where he was monitored with a surveillance camera. If he didn't comply with the task properly, he was severely beaten. He was forced to strip down naked and was hit all over his body, kicked, stomped, and lashed, charges say, and his injuries included previous fractures and breaks that did not heal well. The people who lived around him said it seemed like a normal house. They didn't really know anything. They sometimes said hello. Apparently, the whole thing came to light for the police because let's see here. The police said they had been tipped off by someone who saw the student at a restaurant earlier this week and was concerned because he looked injured and anxious. The tipster gave him a phone number to contact if he needed help, then called police after receiving a message from him on Wednesday morning. So this nice person from St. Charles runs into the kid. He can tell the kid's sort of scared, looks sort of beat up. And he gives him his number and he says, hey, dude, if you need me, call me. So the kid called him. The kid ran away from the house, called the person, and then the police got involved. The ringleader would call the other two and tell them to beat the 20-year-old and to hit him harder if the ringleader was not satisfied with his victim's crime of pain. Now, here's the kicker. This poor 20-year-old kid who thought he was coming to America to go to college and instead was kept as a slave of these abusive people, it's the guy's cousin. The ringleader's cousin is the one that's the victim here. It's someone that they're related to. The student said he was afraid to report the trio because they were wealthy and had powerful connections in India. He said he feared for his safety as well as his family's in India. The ringleader has a website that says he's from a renowned family with business background. And now the ringleader faces charges of trafficking for slavery, involuntary servitude or forced labor, contributing to human trafficking, first-degree assault, armed criminal action, kidnapping, and abuse through forced labor. The other two have some lesser charges. They're all being held without bond. Now, this is a horrible, horrible situation, and I'm really glad. I was interested that it was mostly being treated at the local level. Now, usually human trafficking often involves CBP and ICE. They get involved, and that's, I think, sort of more large scale human trafficking. But like, my mind had so many ideas about this case, right? So, like, first of all, obviously it's a horrible, horrible situation. I can't believe that someone would treat their cousin or anybody like this. My second thought was, boy, I wonder if this happens more often than I think. You know, when I'm on an airplane or in a hotel now, there's a lot of sort of resources and signs about what to do if you're being human trafficked. And we don't necessarily think, I think, of men being trafficked or also of a one-to-one situation of trafficking, if that makes sense. I'm not a criminal defense lawyer, so I'm probably not phrasing it right. But it's scary. It's scary, and it makes me wonder, like, are there things I need to watch out for more in my cases? You know, I deal with a lot of colleges, and if this kid probably came on an F1 and a student visa, and he probably obviously never showed up for school. So I wonder if there's something we could do at the international student advising level, like what to do when a kid doesn't show up. I mean, you know, you guys have all heard on the show about people who come on F1 and then end up trying to go to another school and screwing up their paperwork or whatever. But this kid just sort of disappeared. He's been living here. Yeah, David, you don't usually need a sponsor for a student visa. You would just have him enroll. I mean, maybe they listed the cousin as someone who could financially support him a little bit, but generally that's not that important for a student visa. Yeah, Maggie says, Jim, this is something that happens before with family members. Yeah, I can't believe it. Now, the one thing that might come out of all this is because there's a couple options for the student. So the student is most likely going to be able to get a visa to stay in the United States. There's a T visa for people that have been trafficked. There's a U visa for people who are victims of crime. So I hope that this kid is maybe we should try to reach out to him or something. I mean, these other three guys, if they're not citizens, they're all going to get deported, I think, if they get convicted, if they're not U.S. citizens already. But yeah, the kid will have a path to a green card and be able to stay. Dick Rula is right. School reports to DHS when the student doesn't show up. And that's when the CVIS record will also be terminated. Now, listen, that's all true. But it's very rare in my experience that HSI, that's actually Homeland Security Investigations, I've only seen it once in my whole career where HSI sort of actively starts looking for someone when they don't show up to school. It's very unusual. And now, interestingly, it was the University of Missouri at Rolla Science and Technology. That was the school that called HSI on someone. Now, I will say, as a Muslim, that was a Muslim that they called on. So maybe that had something to do with it. And obviously, these international student offices have a ton of things to worry about. And they're probably just trying to deal with the students who actually show up, and they don't have the resources to go out and look after and find every kid that. I think about Jesus and the lost sheep, right? Like, there's one lost sheep, and this poor kid, I just, it's tragic. I do feel very, very sorry for him. Munir says the DSO should provide more resources. I agree, but man, these colleges, I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, international students bring in a lot of money to the colleges, but if they don't show up, they're not paying any money to the college. So I don't know how much the kid. I'm going to pay attention to this case. I'm going to see what we can find out about this case. I have a whole other case. That recently came down. So in our lawsuit, Yeah, David, I know. How would they find him? I know that. I know. I'm just thinking out loud. In our lawsuit team, we have a great lawyer down in Argentina. She runs our paralegals. Her name's Tamara, and she often asks this question. Sometimes people hire us to file a lawsuit, and they don't tell us everything, and they really shouldn't be filing the lawsuit. So we filed a lawsuit for somebody who's been waiting for his citizenship for a while. He didn't tell us everything, and I got an email last week about the fact that this particular person who sued the government to try to get his naturalization interview is also being investigated by the feds, and his criminal defense lawyer had sent a letter to the feds saying, don't ever talk to my client without a lawyer. So they're like, Jim, you want us to interview him and give him his citizenship, but he also has this criminal investigation. So one note to everybody, and this is what Tommy always says, and this is why I brought her up. She's really smart. She's like, don't file a lawsuit if you've got something bad going on. We've had people file lawsuits that it turned out were in a fake marriage, those kinds of things. So you got to be careful for all this stuff. But it's a crazy time, Dick Rella says student that doesn't show up usually end up on ICE radar. Yeah, but you're talking years later. It's not like a next day kind of a thing. So, all right, Mex has been waiting. Hello, Mex.
Hey, Jim.
How are you?
I'm all right. Just struggling with a particular question. I think I need an expert to assist me with. All right. So the question is in relation to the affidavit. So I got a sponsor apart from my petitioner. So this sponsor is making relatively good amount. So say if I go on, say in her household, she would have like 2 other persons that can go on it. So it's good enough. But the question I want to know, when it comes to the household, like the annual household I think it's annual income, individual annual income. So that's where I'm having an issue with. So on her last pay stub, what is on the tax return for last year, on her current pay stub, it's like say 10,000 more. So on the pay stub, it is showing like year to date,
like 40,000 for December 31st, 2022. It said 40,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And then on her pay stub for the last one this year, year to date, there's a section there that says year to date. It shows that she's making like 50 something. Should I put that 50 something in the income, the annual income, individual income?
Okay. I don't think so, Max. And so one of the great things about owning a law firm is you don't have to fill out the affidavit of support. So it's been a while since I've done it. Okay. But my understanding is you're only supposed to list the last 3 tax years, not the current year. That's my understanding, but I haven't looked at it in a while.
Yeah, that's there. I did from what is on the tax receipts from the 3 years. I did, but there's a section.
Oh, and when they say what's your current salary? What's the co-sponsor's current salary?
Yes.
Yeah, you can estimate it out for the rest of the year.
So what is on the pay stub year to date? I could put that.
Well, I would put a little bit more. So what I would do probably is I would look at the pay stub from October 31st or November. I guess now we're in December, so you could do November 30th. Divide it by 11 and times it by 12 and put that number. That's what I would do. Does that make sense?
Okay. Is on the pay stub itself?
Yeah, that's okay.
At the
yeah,
bottom,
but Max, what if you applied in April? You wouldn't just put the amount you made that year. You would put someone says what's your annual income, you can talk about what you're going to get paid over 12 months. So if she knows her salary is $60,000 a year and she's making $5,000 a month, then even if it's November and she's only made $55,000, she can still put 60.
Okay, I got you. Okay, that was my question.
All right, great.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye, Max. See you, buddy. All right, Zohair is here. Hello, Zohair.
Hey, Mr. Hacking, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Need your expert opinion regarding my complicated situation.
Okay.
Let me give you a little bit of background. So I came to the U.S. on a student visa in 2016. Completed my master's 2017. Started working on my OPT. A few months in, I met my current wife, U.S. citizen spouse. We got married. We had a kid. Stayed together for 5 years. Traveled to like 12 countries together. Did a religious pilgrimage to Mecca. Everything. I have a lot of proof. In June of 2021, I filed for my I-751 and didn't hear back. 2021, 2022, I applied for end of 2022. I applied for the
Nats.
400
Yep.
based on the 3-year rule. I applied.
Yep.
They called me in for an interview. Gave them the interview. Went pretty great. They didn't got back to me. After the interview. This was in July of 2023.
Yep.
Now, what happened afterwards? Unfortunately, shortly after my interview, my marriage took a turn for the downhill. I discovered my wife on a dating app. It created issues between us. Led to a situation where she went physical with me, slapped me, asked me to leave the house, and then a couple of days later, emptied out our joint bank account, like $50,000. Uh,
Jeez.
and while all of this was going on, she filed a child custody case against me in the court of Connecticut for for our daughter. And I was fighting that. There was like reconciliation efforts, and all of a sudden I get this letter from USCIS that she has withdrawn her I-751. My N-400 has been denied. My permanent status has been revoked. Now I waited 3 years for this. I have a 1,000% legit marriage with all the proofs, and my question is, how can they simply ignore all of that proof and everything and just, completely overall all my immigration status based on just one letter saying, I married her for like papers or something
It's
like
not the
that.
letter. It's not. It's not the letter. It's not the letter. It's that the U.S. citizen has the right to withdraw the 751. It's not. That's not an evaluation of the merits of your case. I mean, certainly the naturalization case is over. You have to be married on the day that you actually naturalize. You have to still be married in order for the N400 to be.
We
For
are
the
still
N400.
married. Still married. She just
Yeah.
wrote a letter while all of this was going on. She only filed child custody. She never filed legal separation or dissolution of marriage.
Okay, so so it was sort of like earlier, like in the middle of the summer, that things went bad.
Yes, exactly a week or two after my combo interview, my brother discovered her on a dating app,
Hmm.
and
And
that put
yeah,
everything in a downhill spiral.
did they talk to you at all about the 751 at your Nats interview, or did they say anything about that?
They talked about my San 51. The interview officer didn't actually even call my wife in. She was sitting outside. They were so convinced.
That usually happens. That usually I have the spouse come just as window dressing. I would say it's only one case out of 20 where the U.S. citizen is asked to come in on a 751.
Yeah, but she actually told me after the interview ended, like, congratulations, I'll approve your like both your cases. You should get your oath ceremony. And then they didn't do anything for 4 months. My wife actually wrote to them after 4 months of like that, of both the cases pending after the interview.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so have you taken any action since she withdrew the 751, i.e., have you filed your own 751? Because that's
I,
what needs to
I have
happen.
done a waiver, but I am not divorced yet. I started divorce proceedings just last week.
Perfect.
So
Okay, so you're doing everything I'd want you to do. What's your question for me?
my question is, what are my chances of surviving this, and what do you think, like, how it's going to plan out from moving here forward?
Well, I would say that you should be extremely confident that you're going to get your 10-year green card. You should be extremely confident that you're going to get your citizenship, but it's going to take some time and you might need some help. I think that the waiver should be approved. Our office has probably handled 40 waivers like that, and they've all been approved. So, you have a kid. It was a long marriage. You're going to prove up the infidelity. And so if I were your lawyer, the way I would do it is I would have filed that 751. I would have gotten a 10-page single space statement from you about how the relationship was formed, how it went, how you were in love, how you thought it was going to be the marriage of your lifetime. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, right after my Nats interview, my brother found my wife catting around on a dating app. So, you know, I would lay it all out there, all of it out there. And then I'd submit all my marital evidence and I would talk about the kid and you're doing all the right things. I think you shouldn't be overall worried about your ability to stay in the United States. This case the 751 with the waiver should be approved. And when you apply for the N400 on the 5-year rule, it should be approved. I don't really care what she says in her mean old letters. She's the one that broke up the marriage. And so you're going to have a fight. You might have an interview. We've had many of these approved without an interview if you submit enough evidence. So I guess overall, I want you to feel confident and not worried.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. That was really reassuring. Yeah, if I have a lawyer. We just submitted information, but I wanted to get an expert opinion on what, because you deal with a lot of cases. I wanted your insight as to what my chances are.
I think you're going to be fine, brother.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, sir. That's my
Good
question.
luck, my friend. Yeah, sorry this happened.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody, if you got a minute, we had a 1-star review this week. Actually, we got another one on Friday. Somebody called and said that they wanted to do, I think, a citizenship case. And right after the person didn't want to pay us. They just wanted to talk to the lawyer. They didn't want to hire us. And then they left us a 1-star review complaining about the fact that we asked for too much personal information, like what's your phone number, what's your email address. It was very, very strange. Oh, Tom Brady's at the Spurs game. I'm sure he's rooting for City. All right, let's say hi to Luis. Hello, Luis.
Hey, Jim, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I like your what do you call that you're wearing? That's really pretty.
A hoodie, jacket, I don't know.
Nice.
That's
nice.
From Ecuador.
Nice.
Hey, thanks for taking me, Jim. I have a question for you. Actually, that's for my mother-in-law.
Okay.
So whole case is a little bit complicated. Hopefully, you can give me some advice or something. So
Okay.
she entered in 2003, without inspection, I guess, and then I guess she had court, but she didn't appear in court. And my daughter, she is a resident right now, but she'll be applying for her U.S. citizen maybe next year. So my question is there any way possible that she can actually apply for, in this case, her mom?
So the question is, so I have someone who entered the United States without inspection in 2003, and then I assume had a kid in the United States, and the kid's going to turn 21 next year.
Yeah, she also had one. He is 17, but also my wife, basically her daughter will be also becoming a U.S. citizen, hopefully next year or so. And then we just wonder maybe my wife or her son will be able to apply for her. Is that possible to kind of get the status or?
Yeah. So if was that the only time the mom tried to enter the United States? She only entered one time?
Yeah, only one time, yes.
She was never caught at the border or anything or sent back. It was just the one entry.
Yeah, actually that's she was saying that she was actually in jail for like maybe a couple of weeks. Yeah. And then she had to appear in court, but she never did. And she has been ever since, paying her taxes and never got in trouble at all. So just kind of wondering if there's any way possible she can get a status.
She can. Okay, so we have to assume right now that she has been ordered deported. If she had a court date that she didn't go to, that means she was probably ordered deported by the immigration judge, right?
That's what we don't know for sure, but I'm sure that's really what happened.
Yeah, so we can check that. There's a way to check that without getting her into trouble. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what needs to happen. Once the daughter, so how old is the daughter right now?
Well, my wife, she is. I'm talking about my my brother-in-law. He is 17.
Okay, so who do we think is going to be the U.S. citizen that sponsors your wife?
Either my brother-in-law or my wife.
And so are we talking about your mother-in-law who's entered or your wife who entered?
No, mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law entered. And so, okay. So your wife is not a U.S. citizen, right?
Not yet.
But she will be soon.
Yeah, she'll be next year or two.
Okay. So let's call grandma. We'll call her grandma. So grandma Grandma has 2 children in the United States.
Yes.
One is 17, and he was born in the United States.
Yeah.
And the other is your wife, who's going to become a citizen pretty soon.
Yes.
And so which will happen first? Will your wife become a citizen before the 17-year-old turns 21?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. Once your wife becomes a citizen, she will file an I-130 petition for her mother.
Uh-huh.
And she will say, I am a U.S. citizen, and make sure if anything comes up in her naturalization process where they ask, where's Abuela, where's grandma, that we are honest that she's in the United States. We have to make sure that because we don't want them to say your wife shouldn't have got citizenship by lying where her mother was. Okay. So
Yes.
most important on the N-400, if they ask, is your mother a U.S. citizen? Where is she? That she's honest about that. So wife becomes a citizen. Wife files an I-130 petition. That gets approved. And then after that's approved, then you're going to go to the immigration court. You're going to need a lawyer for this. We're going to have to do a Freedom of Information Act request to figure out what court ordered her deported and get a copy of that order, because she wasn't there, so she doesn't know exactly where or when she was ordered deported. We have to get a copy of that deportation order. Then we have to make a motion with the court to set aside the deportation order, to throw the deportation order out.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we get that, then we have to file for a waiver for mom to see if we can get her entry into the United States without permission waived, like forgiven. And then once that's approved, then she'll have to go back home and consular process. That's what we're talking about. Now, the trick is, if Biden gets reelected, this will all work. If Trump gets reelected, this will not work.
That's I was kind of afraid about that. My question is, so she has an opportunity to do the 601A waiver.
Correct.
Here in the United States, right?
But you still have to leave once you get it approved. But the thing about the 601A waiver is that before you leave that you've got it approved.
Got approval denied. Okay, that sounds great. That's we were just trying to know because I didn't. It's kind of a difficult case, and I'm sure we will need a lawyer, to do our case. And since you were helping us out a lot, we definitely would consider about you.
We would probably file the I-130, and at the same time, we would do the Freedom of Information Act to get mom's file so that we know what we're dealing with.
So we have to do the I-130 first, and then after the waiver, or the waiver kind of keep going it now?
You have to wait for the waiver, and you can't do the I-130 until your wife becomes a citizen.
Exactly. Okay, that sounds great.
And this is Ecuador. This is Ecuador, right? For grandma? She's from Ecuador?
Yeah, that's from Ecuador.
All right. Thanks, Luis.
Hey, I appreciate it, Jim. Thank you so much for that information. Have a nice weekend.
All right. See you. Oh, yeah. David's right there. We will have to talk about who's going to be the qualifying relative, but we can deal with that later. Let's talk to Special K, see if she's back. Hello. Are you back?
I am back.
Awesome.
So I have a question about paying the NVC fees. My fiance has filled out the DS-160 because we're on an F1 visa.
Yeah.
They actually scheduled the interview before he filled out anything. And now I'm trying to figure out how to pay the fees. I'm asking the visa center, and they're just saying to call the embassy. But according to the website, we're supposed to pay the fees on NBC's website on the CEAC.
Correct. What embassy?
And it's not coming up. It's not coming up at all. Like when I log into the information, it just says that it's ready for the interview.
When did USCIS approve the I-129F?
That was August of 22.
And nothing's happened since then?
No, we have.
You filed the DS-160.
We're waiting. Yeah, so we're waiting. No, that we got the approval of that. And then now we had an RFE, so it took a little bit of extra time to approve it.
When did
But
USCIS approve? When did USCIS approve the I-129F, the first part, before you got to the State Department?
it was August.
Of 22?
Yes.
Okay, so after USCIS approved the I-129F, the case should have gone to the State Department. What happened with the State Department then?
So it took them a little while. I wasn't hearing anything, so I just sent them an email, and they finally gave me the information I needed. They're kind of lagging a little bit because they never gave me the approval ID and all that. So it took me time to actually get in to the website. But now, like I'm saying, it's not allowing me to pay any fees. It doesn't have that option. So I don't know what to do from now because they said before his interview, it has to be paid.
What embassy is this?
This is Togo.
So this is all very, very strange. I think you need to keep bothering the National Visa Center until you get a hold of a live person and tell them what's going on. The system is locked and things are being done out of order. And if he shows up at that interview, nothing's going to happen.
That's what I thought. And somebody keeps telling him he'll have to pay the fees there. And I said, no, that's not what the website's saying. The website says you have to pay the fees before.
When's the interview?
December 13th.
So he's definitely going to go on December 13th and see what happens and have the money to make the payment, right? You just got to go with the flow. You got to see what happens. December 13th is.
That's what he's going to go prepared to pay, but I'm still confused. I've sent them 2 emails, and both times they said it's already been sent over to the embassy. There's nothing we can do.
So again, I would start bothering them every day until starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I would also be ready to go full steam ahead, and he might just have to explain it to them, and then they'll tell him what to do. This is all good. It's all good. You're pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure it didn't throw a rock in everything and then them not approve it.
I don't think there's anything else you can do. You're doing everything you're supposed to.
Okay.
Thanks,
I appreciate your help.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
All right, everybody. That'll do it for today's show. Thanks so much. I'm going to go watch some football. Kickoff's in 4 minutes. Hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday, great rest of your weekend. If you could, somebody left us that 1-star review. If you go to reviewhackinglaw.com, we'd appreciate it. And maybe say a prayer for our little friend, the 20-year-old Indian fellow. And we'll see you tomorrow at 4:30, a little bit later tomorrow, 4:30 Central tomorrow. Bye, guys.